All right. Andrew Yang, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. First, I want to talk about voter registration. We just had a National Voter Registration Day. Why is it so important and crucial, this year maybe more than ever to register to vote?
Your vote has to be counted on November 3rd for you to have a say in the country's future. And certainly on my side, I believe we should turn the page from the Trump presidency and that Joe and Kamala should be in the White House. But no matter what your viewpoint is, you need to be registered to vote to express it. So I was thrilled to get people to register on National Voter Registration Day yesterday, but you have a number of days. Don't worry if you missed yesterday. You can register today. You can register tomorrow. Just do it today or tomorrow. Don't wait too long.
And we have, because of the pandemic, there aren't a whole lot of those traditional registration events that happen. I know the Trump team here in Nevada had an in-person registration event, and I believe the Biden team is doing more of these kind of virtual meetings and pushes and links to websites. Do you see that as maybe a disadvantage, or how are you kind of perceiving the difference there?
No, I think you're going to lose some things and gain others, Orko. And I believe that mail-in voting actually is going to increase turnout dramatically because every active voter, if you're registered, you're going to get a mail-in ballot, and then you can just send it back in. You can drop it off in person. Or if you really want to, you can vote in person the day of election day. I personally would recommend getting the mail-in ballot and then sending it in. You can send it in early. You can have it all done and then you can relax. The other thing is that if you vote early via mail-in voting, then you can give everyone else a hard time. You can say, "I voted, have you?" And then you can be the person on the high horse. Who doesn't want that? Get on that high horse. Vote early. I feel like the tagline. But we need you to vote because in Nevada in particular, your vote could mean a great deal. Nevada is going to be a crucial state.
And you mentioned obviously mail-in voting. Nevada expanded mail-in voting here because of the pandemic for the 2020 election. Uh, are you confident that the process here and around the country will run smoothly? And what's your response to some claims that there could be widespread voter fraud?
Mail-in voting is very, very secure and very reliable. And if you think about it, if you get thousands of these paper mail-in ballots, you actually have a very high degree of certainty that they're going to be processed and processed correctly. So I would not worry about it. Just get that mail-in ballot, send it in, and then you can rest assured that your vote's going to be counted. Though I would suggest just get it done as soon as possible because then you have one less thing to worry about.
And something we're hearing, whether it's preparing to get a mail-in ballot or just getting ready for election day or early voting from both sides of the aisle, is make a voting plan. So if there's someone out there who's maybe a first-time voter or who doesn't typically engage in politics, what's kind of your advice to them in terms of coming up with a plan to cast their ballot?
Yes. Things are more likely to happen if you make a plan. So make a voting plan. I'm going to suggest one. Number one, go to iwillvote.com and make sure you're registered. Number two, get your ballot. Then number three, send it in. That's a pretty good plan. See, it's pretty easy. If you want to take it up a notch, then your plan can include other people. It can be tell your friends, tell your family members, make sure they get their ballots too, make sure they get registered. But that's next level stuff. The simple voting plan works great, but you should definitely have a plan because it'll make you much more likely to get that vote in before November 3rd.
And then, going back to the voter registration, I believe this week you had an event with the AAPI caucus right here in Nevada. Is the Asian American community, is that a particular group that the Biden team is working to get some major support with in for this election, and what are some of the efforts being made to appeal to that group?
The Biden campaign wants everyone to vote, and certainly Asian Americans are a very important, fast-growing voting bloc in Nevada. But everyone's vote counts the same, and the Biden campaign wants to reach everyone. They're investing in Spanish language outreach in Nevada and around the country. They have people doing Instagram chats with influencers to reach young people. So we're going after everybody. And everyone's vote is going to be crucial in Nevada in particular this fall.
And you mentioned, the appeal to Latino voters. I believe nationally, for most of these minority groups, Biden does have a lead. But many experts are saying there needs to be this overwhelming support, particularly from the Latino and Black communities. Uh, and right now, there's not that huge overwhelming support according to the numbers. So, what are some efforts being made to make sure that those numbers reach those high levels to ensure that this will be a victory for you guys because it is a very close race?
Well, we're taking nothing for granted. And certainly, to me, the Latino community, if they see the vision that Joe and Kamala have for the country and contrast it with Trump's, I think it's going to be a very easy call. But we have to make that case. We have to reach people where they are. We have to uh, advertise in a language that someone's most comfortable receiving information in. And my parents also were and are big users of foreign language media. So we need to reach voters how they're receiving information and try and get the enthusiasm and turnout levels up really in every community we can reach.
And unfortunately, with the passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, that's now become kind of this big focal point of this election. What will happen to that Supreme Court seat? I just want to get your thoughts from the Biden team on what your stance is on this and what you believe will actually happen moving forward.
Uh, Ruth Bader Ginsburg was an American icon and hero, and her passing is a tragedy that affects everyone. To me, her passing highlights just how important this election is going to be, where the nature of our healthcare system, women's right to choose, and other fundamental issues are going to be determined largely by who wins in November. So, for anyone watching this thinking, oh, you're going to sit this one out, do not sit this out. Register to vote right now, vote, and make sure that your perspective is included in who's going to be our next president because it's going to determine Supreme Court appointments and issues that you care deeply about.
Great. Andrew Yang, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Love it, Nevada. Let's go. Let's get out there and vote. Make sure and register. We need you. We need your vote, Nevada. Hey, think about it. Other people are going to vote. Like, shouldn't Nevadans be heard just as much or more than anyone else? I think so. And if you think so too, make sure and register today.